If you live anywhere near the Atlantic, you've probably felt it, right? This hurricane season has been, well, almost eerily quiet. But that feeling of relief, that might just be the most dangerous thing about this year. The calm is over. We really need to talk about what's coming.
So let's just tackle that feeling head on. Forecasts were calling for a pretty busy, above normal season, but so far, it's kind of felt like a dud. So has it actually been quiet? Well, the answer is probably not what you think. Here's the deal. The perception is that we've had this slow, tame start. But the reality? The hard numbers? We've already had 4 named storms, which, believe it or not, is actually above the average for this point in the year. So if there have been more storms, why doesn't it feel that way? It really all comes down to one thing: how long these storms are sticking around. As geosciences professor Jennifer Collins points out, our storms have been incredibly short-lived. They pop up, they get a name, and then they just fizzle out before they can become those big, memorable hurricanes. But don't mistake short for weak. Remember Tropical Storm Barry? It was brief, sure, but it was still the storm that triggered some really significant flooding down in Texas. That quiet period, it's really allowed the real engine of hurricane season to warm up and get going. And that brings us right to our first section. The Atlantic is waking up. The threat is here now. That grace period we've had, it's officially over. Forecasters are signaling a major shift. The National Hurricane Center, or the NHC, is now tracking some really significant activity that's starting to roll off the coast of Africa. And it has serious potential. And here it is. This is the current threat board. The one you really need to be watching is right there on that top line, Invest 97L. Look at that. A high 80% chance of developing in the next 7 days. This right here, this is the official signal that the season is kicking into its most dangerous phase. You're going to hear that term invest a lot in the coming weeks. So what does it actually mean? It's short for investigation area. Think of it as the NCDC raising a flag. It means they're concerned enough about a storm that they're aiming their most powerful computer models right at it. It's basically their way of telling all of us, hey, pay attention to this.
So why is all of this happening now? Is it just random? Not at all. It's pure science. And that brings us to section 2, the science of the peak. This is why the worst is absolutely still to come. I love this quote from Chris Fogarty over at the Canadian Hurricane Center. He says, trying to form a major hurricane in June or July is like trying to bake a cake without flour. You're just missing the key ingredients. Well, guess what? Right now, all those key ingredients are getting dumped into the bowl at once.
And here's that recipe for a monster season. First, the ocean is at its absolute warmest, which is pure high-octane fuel for storms. Next, those tropical waves coming off Africa are way stronger, much better organized. The Saharan dust that usually chokes out young storms, that's fading away. Wind shear, those crosswinds that can rip a storm apart, that's weakening. And finally, the whole atmosphere is just more unstable, letting thunderstorms explode upwards. All 5 ingredients are now in the mix.
And this chart? Wow, this is the result. This really explains everything. If a hurricane season's total energy is like a 12-round prize fight, everything we've seen so far in June and July, that was just the fighters touching gloves. A staggering 92% of the action, of the real power, happens between right now and the end of October. The quiet start was just the warm-up act.
And all that energy, it doesn't just stay out at sea. It comes ashore. An incredible 93% of all hurricanes to ever make landfall in the U.S. have hit during this exact same 3-month window. Okay, with all of that in mind, let's zoom in on the immediate threat. This takes us to section 3, what you need to be watching for. So here's the bottom line for the next 10 days. Our main concern, Invest 97L, is probably going to become Tropical Storm Erin pretty soon. From there, it looks like a potential threat to the northeastern Caribbean by next week. Long-range models then show it tracking somewhere between Cuba and Bermuda. Now, it is still way too early to know about U.S. impacts, but the time for just passively watching is over. It's time to really pay attention. Meteorologist Ryan Truchelet absolutely nailed it with this quote. We know well hurricane seasons can be nowhere to be found, then suddenly impossible to avoid. That is the exact moment we are in right now. The switch is being flipped.
Knowing all of this, there's really only one question that matters anymore. What do you do now? So let's get into our final section, how to prepare. This is your action plan.
You know, the National Hurricane Center has a very blunt reminder for all of us. Forget the seasonal forecast. All it takes is one storm hitting your community to make it a devastating year. Your preparation isn't for a season, it's for that one storm.
So officials recommend a 5-point mission. Assemble your disaster supplies, know your evacuation plan and where you'll go, review your insurance coverage, set up a communication plan with your family, and take steps to strengthen your home. Every single one of these things needs to be done before a storm is even on the map. The time to do it is now.
And let's be crystal clear about insurance, okay? Because this is the one detail that can truly ruin lives. Your standard home insurance does not cover flooding. You need a separate flood policy for that, and it requires a 30-day waiting period before it takes effect. That means if you wait until a storm is named, I'm telling you, you are already too late.
So the season is here. The science is clear. The threats are literally forming out over the ocean as we speak. Every part of the forecast is locked in. The only real question left, the only variable, is you. Are you